Something I'm realising quite a lot recently is that a lot of raw vegans are also conspiracy theorists, almost straight away. Raw vegans and conspiracy theory seem to go hand in hand. And the problem with conspiracy theory and conspiracies is that it really manipulates and exploits people into believing all sorts of weird things that don't really improve how you look at the world or improve your part in the world or anything else like that. If you start to believe in a lot of conspiracies, you start to think that there's this agenda of people who are trying to create a bad world for some reason, which doesn't make sense, but they make it make sense by saying, well, that they benefit from negative energies or something like that, or some extraterrestrial beings, eat off the negative energies and all this weird stuff. So I used to, and I know that raw vegans are into conspiracy theories because I was into conspiracy theories as well. And being into conspiracy theories just means that you're an open-minded person. So I was always of the belief that you should always listen to everyone's opinion. Listen to every opinion for what it is, and see what's right for you or whatever, or see what you believe, or try and find the right answer. The problem with that kind of thinking is that you cannot find truth through following your feelings. And a lot of people think that they can, but you cannot, because there is no internal truth finder. We don't even have an ability to tell if someone is lying to us or not. We don't have that ability. We certainly don't know if something's real or right without having researched it and looking into the information behind it and all that stuff. And it quite clearly shows that with diet, A lot of people seem to think that they've got an internal sort of mechanism that allows them to determine what's the best diet for themselves and all that. And you don't. You quite simply do not. Because if we did, none of us would eat a bad diet. It wouldn't make sense. We'd be very clear in what was the best diet and we'd move towards it, most likely. But no one has that. So they go towards what they think's right, or what they think they want to eat, or whatever. And that's not the same thing. And it's the same with everything else. It's the same with politics, and it's the same with any idea that's presented to you, that there's no way that you'll be able to tell if they are lying or not, or if they're honest or not, or if it's real or not, unless you've done the research, or you have the skill or the ability or the knowledge in that particular field or area to really know the whole story. The flat earth thing is a fantastic example of this. Now, I've not watched a lot of the flat earth videos, the stuff that kind of tries to prove that the earth is flat. I've not watched a lot of that stuff. But I know for sure you can convince people that the earth is flat. And because I've seen people who believe in it, who really believe in it. And what happens is, if you go into a room or a situation and everyone believes that thing, there's a good chance that you're going to start to believe that thing. This is human nature, group dynamics, influence. It's kind of how things work as a social species. We kind of go along with a group. It's called peer pressure as well. And if someone delivers a fantastic presentation that you don't know really anything about, then you're gonna end up moving towards that idea. And there is, as I say, people can act sincere. They might even think they're right. They might even think they're honest. But that doesn't make them make the information sincere. And it's like when people say, oh, that person's a really good guy, or that person's really charming, or they're a really nice person and all that. People can fake all this stuff. And you might think, oh, I can see through it and all that, and I've got intuition and all that. I want you to be a little bit more humble and realise you've probably been scammed as many times as anyone else. You've probably believed in people that it turned out, or you wanted to believe in people that turned out weren't being honest, you know. So everyone's vulnerable to this stuff. But the reason that raw vegans are particularly open to it is because we realise that the world really isn't as we thought it was, which is we were presented with a diet when we were growing up, and then when we move towards raw vegan, we learn that that diet is really unhealthy for people, and it's connected with disease, and it can cause disease. And we start to ask ourselves, why would this be allowed? You know, why would this be allowed to be the case? And we question it, and you start to think, well, it's a conspiracy theory. And I know some people that they started off questioning the food thing, and then they questioned everything else. Some people questioned everything else, and then ended up questioning the food. So it can go either way. But the thing about thinking that there's an agenda, that there's an elite of people that are ruling the world and all that, is it's not realistic in many ways. People, for example, there's no chance that at one time some people got around a table and said to themselves, you know, eating meat is really bad for people. We should create a company called McDonald's and put them on every corner of every place in the world and put out loads of advertising, and we'll force people to eat hamburgers. You know, that's the kind of thing that people sometimes think. That's not the way the world works, ever. It's not the way that any company works. It's not the way that advertising works. And if you want to work these things out, go out and do some of these things for yourself. Go out and try and start a restaurant and see if you can force people to come, and see if you can manipulate people into coming into your restaurant and eating food they don't want to eat. Try and see if that works for you. You know, what happens in business is people find situations that haven't been exploited. People find needs that aren't being met, problems that aren't being solved, and they create a product or service that meets that need, that solves that problem. They react. Businesses and corporations, they react to the needs of their customers. They react to the evolving needs of human beings in an ever-changing world. And the companies that exploit that the best and put out the best products and communicate the best and are able to do it in you know, the most efficient, cost-effective way, whatever, they tend to win over time. So it's a strange thing, like the idea that there's people dictating to the world what's going to happen. It can't work like that, because humans just don't do what you tell them to do. You know, they have desires and things, and we exploit those things. It doesn't matter, you know, what information goes out there about the health of this or that. Coca-Cola is still always going to taste amazing. All of these soft drinks are going to taste amazing, just regardless. They've been designed to taste amazing, but people haven't been manipulated to think they taste amazing. They actually do. McDonald's tastes good, regardless of what you're a vegan, a vegetarian, a raw vegan. McDonald's tastes good. They've worked out what tastes good to people, and they made that in the food, you know. They add a lot of salt into it, a lot of sugar, a lot of other things that make it taste good, and it does taste good. That's why people eat it. It's not a big conspiracy theory, you know. It's not like, and it's cheap, and it's right there, and it's easy to get, and it's open all the time, and it's always clean, and the toilets are always clean. These are the kind of things that have made people go into McDonald's over the years. They feel comfortable going into a McDonald's. They don't feel like they're going to be embarrassed. They don't feel like they're going into a high-class restaurant that they might not be welcome in. They know what the price tag is. All of these things. So companies like McDonald's have done an amazing job of giving people what they want and making it easy for people to go in and buy and get food. And McDonald's is actually starting to go more and more vegan. And that's not because of the New World Order. That's because people are starting to demand vegan food. And McDonald's will be the first company that's fully vegan if the world changes towards vegan. It'll be the first company because they know, because they're reacting to what people want. That's the whole thing. And so I just don't see this idea of a new world order or anything like that. Like, the world is changing towards vegan because quite frankly, it's in line with human nature. People don't want animals to be killed, and that's kind of been a conspiracy in a way, is that these companies have tried to stop images of what happens to animals getting out, and that is a real conspiracy. A lot of the products like cigarettes and a lot of these products, they are conspiring to try and stop you from hearing the fact that these products are really bad for you. But the information's still getting out there. It's still getting out there. It's just that people don't want to believe it yet. So it's not like people are being manipulated into not believing it. They really, truly don't believe it. They don't want to believe it because the stuff tastes good to them, or they've been fed it as a child and they're conditioned to eat it. So I'm not really interested in the whole conspiracy theory thing. It doesn't help us. It doesn't empower us. And usually it's used in a way like, oh, we can't change anything, the conspiracy thing, the New World Order and all that, and the elites want this to happen, so we can't do anything about it. So, it's like a give up thing all the time when people talk about conspiracies. It's like, oh, this is terrible that they're doing all this and that they are doing this, and they never really talk about who they is. They is every single person. Oh, it's terrible that people eat McDonald's. Well, what are you going to do about it? That's their free choice to go and do that. They're not being. You can't manipulate a person into going and eating McDonald's. So. Yeah. It's this idea of a conspiracy, and everything's being controlled so it's all negative and dark energy and all that. It's not helpful. Even if it was real, it's not helpful. It's not helpful because what are you going to do about it? That's the question. Are you just going to sit back and get frustrated and hear about it and go, oh, that's terrible? Are you going to do something? And if your thing is about veganism and you want veganism to prevail, then go out and do some vegan activism. And do something real. And you will very quickly find you're not going to get so frustrated anymore. But you will start realising the gravity and the reality of the situation and how hard it is to get people to think about it or change. And you will... I don't know, I think you will realise that you can only make people realise something that is kind of in connection with their real nature. And that's why veganism, people always move towards it. Because the more they think about it again and again and again, it becomes something that is... You can't have a cat in your house and then kill a pig. It just doesn't make any sense to you, right? So, anyway, so a lot of raw vegans are conspiracy theorists. A lot of conspiracy theorists are turn towards raw vegan. There is conspiracies about veganism being like the New World Order diet. This is a really strange idea because none of them, as far as I'm aware, none of these big presidents and people that ran these corporations, none of them are particularly vegan. Like there was Steve Jobs, I guess, but there's not really been that many of them. So no one started out wanting to be vegan. They just realised it was the truth. They just saw the information. That's what always happens. So there you go. Let me know your comments below. If you want to learn more about the raw vegan diet, come to the UK Fruitfest in 2019 from July the 21st to the 28th. There's a link below if you want to learn more about it. You can learn more about coaching with me if you want to go to a raw vegan diet, lose some weight, get rid of your food addictions. You can look at that below. And you can come along to the group in Glasgow and we'll have a good discussion about raw vegan stuff and we'll eat fruit together. So see you there. See you around. See you in the next video. Thank you.